Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be discussing your thoughts on YouTube removing the dislike button and answering a whole bunch of questions, so go ahead and stick around. Alright, over the last week there were a couple of pieces of news that I found quite interesting, but they are way out of my wheelhouse, and I do not know what I'm talking about. Take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. I am mentioning them in passing, and if you want to actually know what's going on, find somebody who understands these arenas and watch their videos and podcasts and news stories, because I'm a dope. I don't know what these things mean. I can't even read. The first one being Apple will now allow you to buy parts for your iPhone 12 and 13, so you as an individual are able to repair your own iPhone. You don't have to take it to the Apple Genius Bar. That's pretty much the whole story. Pretty cool, I think. I saw arguments from both sides saying this is great and also this is terrible. The people who were saying this is great are those who have been supporting the Right to Repair Act and having the ability to repair the device that you own. I think that's a pretty great argument. The other argument that I saw is this is going to allow people to destroy their device and lead to Apple getting more money. I say, fine. If people think that they can repair it and they end up destroying their device, that's not Apple's concern. Who cares? If somebody makes that decision, more power to them. Go take it to the Genius Bar now and pay Apple to repair it, or pay Apple to say, yeah, we can't do anything. You ruined it beyond repair. Buy a new one. That is the individual's ability. They have the ability and the authority to do that, so more power to them. I think this is a great thing. I think it was Louis Rossmann. Did I just say I never say This is why I don't talk about things I don't understand, because then when I do that, I say Disgusting. But Louis Rossmann made a video about this, and in that video, he discussed a prior program that allowed people to buy components for different Apple devices, and the terms and conditions weren't that great. So I would recommend going and watching that if you want to know more about it. I think this is interesting, and if people want to destroy their devices, more power to them. Good luck with that. And the second piece of news that I know very little about is Streamlabs OBS. There's just a bunch of hullabaloo going on around them. And what it seems to be is Streamlabs likes to copy people's work. And apparently people were unaware that Streamlabs like to copy people's work. The thing that seemed to really draw people's attention to it was the fact that Streamlabs launched something. It was called Streamlabs Studio, I believe. And when you looked at the website for, is it Limelight? Streamlight? Some other service that did the exact same thing that allowed you to stream from your console. When you compared the websites side by side, they were the exact same thing. The exact same thing. I think that's what kicked off a lot of the anger around Streamlabs. Then OBS came out, Open Broadcast Software, which is open source, and they said, we did not want Streamlabs to use OBS in their name, yet Streamlabs did so anyway. And I think those are the two things that led to a lot of noise around Streamlabs, and now people are really pissed off at them and moving off of Streamlabs. And hey, there you go. That's my summary. Plenty of other videos actually covering it in depth, and I think you should go watch those if you care about them. Now let's talk about what I've been testing, and you have been listening to it. Oh my god, he said the thing he always says. I did. It is the Neat King Bee version 2. That is right, it is finally here. I believe it launched on the 16th of November, and this is the second version, hence King Bee version 2, of the King Bee. There's quite a big difference in the look, being that the version 2 does not have a big yellow grill, it doesn't have yellow stripes, and frankly, that was the biggest complaint that people had about the King Bee, which was shocking to me because the sound is the most important part, and I thought the King Bee sounded pretty good. The interesting thing about this, I was really concerned about the King Bee V2. I was really concerned about it. If you don't know the history about Neat microphones, oh, by the way, Neat did send me the King Bee V2 so that I could review it. This is not paid or anything. I just find the history interesting. So they launched maybe 5 years ago. They launched a bit ago. And they were under the ownership of another company. I can't remember if it was Guitar Center, if it was Marshall, if it was Gibson. They were owned by another company. And when they launched the King Bee, it started at $350. I think it peaked at $400. It was an expensive microphone. But then they bought themselves out from that ownership and they became an independent company again. And that's when a lot of people started talking about Neat because the prices on their microphones dropped significantly. When I bought the Neat King Bee, I believe I got it for $100 or maybe $130, which is where the King Bee, the original, ended up sitting until it was sold out. And once that happened, once there was a lot of buzz, no pun intended, King Bee, you get it, buzz around it, they sold out and they took the King Bee off the market, and it's been off the market for maybe a year at this point. And in the meantime, they were acquired by Turtle Beach. And that was concerning to me. That was quite concerning to me because Turtle Beach is just a gaming company, a gaming peripheral company. They're not really known for high-quality audio. And I had concerns that they were going to take a microphone that was very highly acclaimed. A lot of folks liked it because it's affordable and it sounds pretty darn good. And I was scared they were going to destroy that, saying, no, make the components cheaper, make it sound bad, and just crank up the price so we can make more profit. But I'm happy to say it's a different sound from the King Bee V1, but the fact that it is not a completely and utterly destroyed microphone, I am thrilled. I am thrilled, and I think a lot of people are going to like it because it does have a similar character to the original King Bee, but it doesn't have all the yellow striping, which I know a lot of people absolutely despised. So there you go. That's what I've been testing. I think I may have clipped there. I did not gain stage properly today, so please forgive me. There you go. That's what we're testing today, and let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from David. He says, regarding hiding the dislike, it's a start. Although I do remember an idea you suggested some time back that I think is a good one. I can't remember now if it was yours or a viewer suggestion, having to watch a video for so long before you can dislike. I'd also go as far as to say that the same thing should be applied to liking a video. You make some great points, but I think the abuse of the like-dislike button is something that does affect videos, especially those by smaller creators. You are a creator, so your ability to get past the general hype of a video due to like and dislike is understandable, but I doubt the same can be said for most non-creators, typical viewers. Maybe removing the like and dislike button completely is the solution. This could possibly promote the use of comments more, maybe. One thing is for sure though, and without wearing my tinfoil hat, whatever YouTube Google settles on with regard to such matters, it isn't done for the benefit of the creators or maybe even the viewers. Money shouts a lot louder than any creator or viewer, and those paying the advertising bills will always get the last shout. Great episode. Cheers, Dave. David or Dave, thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate it, and you bring up some very good points. The first thing I want to say is I love the idea of people having to watch X percentage of a video prior to liking or disliking it. I think that would completely mitigate the entire dislike mob issue. Although maybe not, because people could just leave a video on and then say, okay, I've watched 10% dislike. It would decrease the amount of immediate dislike or liking on a video. And then we would lose a lot of culture around YouTube. I liked before I even watched the video. We would lose those comments. What kind of YouTube would it be if we don't have comments saying, I liked it before I even watched it? I don't know. I don't know if that's a YouTube I want to be a part of. I'm joking, by the way. Then you say the abuse of the like and dislike buttons does affect videos on YouTube, especially by small creators. I'm not sure on that. I want to see statistics. I want to see data on this. I do understand, based on YouTube statements, that likes and dislikes do impact an individual's recommendations. I do not know about how that leads to videos being treated in the algorithm in general. If likes and dislikes do in fact impact discoverability and distribution of videos. I don't have that data. I don't think any of us do. If anybody has data to back that statement up, I would love to see it. If somebody can prove that disliking a video in fact hurts that video's performance in terms of general algorithm recommendations, please share that. That will be a bombshell. That will be huge. We do know that disliking a video impacts your recommendations as an individual, but as far as platform-wide, I'm not sure. I would also like to see what kind of impact it has on smaller creators, because I don't know many smaller I guess the definition of small creator would need to be defined, because if YouTube is saying 100 to 500,000 subs are small creators, I could see that being the case because there's a lot of channels in that subscriber number that have drama surrounding them. But if they're saying channels with 5 subscribers are getting discouraged due to dislike mobs, I don't know many channels that have 5 subs that create so much outrage that they get targeted for a dislike mob. So I don't know what they're classifying as a small creator. That's another piece of information we would need. But then you get to the interesting part, the tinfoil hat part, and I am on board with you. As I mentioned, I don't think that I can't be hand-holding and palming a microphone. I'm going to break the darn thing. As you mentioned, tinfoil hat. YouTube is not doing this to benefit creators or viewers. They're doing it because they think it's going to lead to them having a better bottom line. That's the purpose of every single company. Earn money, maximize profits, and make sure that you can continue to grow your company. So they are doing this because they believe hiding the dislike button will improve their bottom line. And last week I said I think they're being dishonest about the justification, but I didn't elaborate there. They have advertisers on their platform that run video ads. That means that those videos have to be hosted on YouTube. A lot of those videos end up being public. You can go view them and like or dislike them. If a company ends up going to YouTube and saying, here's our video ad, we want to run it, and we're going to give you $1 million to run it for 6 months, and then an advertiser at that company goes and looks at their video and sees 5 likes and 25,000 dislikes, then that's not going to be good for them. They're going to think that YouTube is stealing their money. They're going to be thinking, oh my gosh, this is a really ineffective ad. We need to pull this. We need to stop spending money on it. And I think that may be one of the primary motivating factors here. Trying to keep advertisers from getting dislike bombed, because people dislike advertisements, and on YouTube, it's one of the few platforms where you're actually able to show a dislike on an advert. You can't do that on TV. You can't do it on Twitter. Although on Twitter, one of the best things you can do whenever you see an ad, block that Twitter account. That's a good way around it. So I think that is probably one of the main motivating factors. I've also heard a bunch of people suggest that it is a political-based move, that politicians have pushed back at YouTube and said, you need to remove the like and dislike button or the dislike number because it looks bad for us. I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, but that is an absolute possibility. I could see it happening. I just don't necessarily think that's what it is. The other option that I don't think enough people are talking about is general news agencies, news outlets. We saw YouTube bend over backwards to make sure that news agencies and news outlets were happy, that they were appeased. Starting back in 2017, we saw a bunch of articles, a bunch of stories come out that were berating and I wouldn't say defaming, but trashing YouTube, making YouTube look terrible. It made YouTube look like the scum of the earth. It looked like Mos Eisley, a hive of scum and villainy, or however that saying goes. That's what they made it look like. And then you see YouTube start to change and appease what these news outlets were suggesting and recommending. And what happened? We started to see news outlets get prioritized in search results. We also saw news outlets get an entire bar on the front of YouTube. Breaking news, here's what it is. And last week, I noticed that the breaking news bar now has thumbnails that are 2 times as large as the regular thumbnails. I think it may be the news outlets and the news agencies who, I don't know if they did threaten. This is pure speculation, by the way. This is me just guessing because I don't know what the hell goes on at YouTube. I just see what goes on in the public realm and say, well, the news agency said that, did that, and now YouTube bent over backwards to make them happy? Why would they do that? That seems like a terrible decision. And now we're seeing news agencies get even more promotion. 2x as big as other thumbnails on my iPad and on my phone. The breaking news, Kyle Rittenhouse case, 2x. Twice as big as a regular thumbnail. Why would they do that? I don't know. So I think you may be right. I think I just went on way too long of a rant, a little bit of a diatribe, but there you go. That's my take. I think you raised some good points. Next, what do we have? We have a comment from That Lazy Guy. He says, with regards to YouTube dislike button topic, the main reason I'm hesitant to agree with you is because of creators' ability to remove individual comments from their videos. I'm not sure how well negative comments that serve as a dislike button will survive on YouTube. I will just have to wait and see. Also, creators can disable comments altogether, but that's not really anything new or interesting since they can even disable ratings. Correct me if I'm wrong. That Lazy Guy, thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate the dissenting opinion. Is that a proper way to put it? The opinion that disagrees with me. I'll put it that way because dissenting seems much more nefarious. Creators are able to disable comments. One thing that I have learned, never trust a video, never watch a video that has comments disabled. Secondly, creators can disable the like and dislike numbers. Again, something that I have learned, never trust and never watch a video that has the like and dislike ratio disabled because they're trying to hide something. They're trying to hide something and it's a bad look. It's a bad look trying to hide what people are saying about the video. Why don't you want people to be able to share their opinion about your video? It just doesn't look very good. And to be 100% upfront with you, I had not even considered that creators could delete the comments. That didn't even cross my mind that creators would say, people are saying use this as a dislike button and they're putting that in the comments. That didn't even cross my mind. So this is me just being a complete dope, a complete idiot. But I had not even considered the fact that creators could and might delete comments that say I'm using this as a dislike button. That's absolutely crazy, but that's me being dumb. Or I guess me sharing or showing my inability to delete comments. The only comments I've ever deleted contain racial slurs, but now YouTube just hides those automatically. And YouTube hides like 95% of comments automatically anyway. You have to go into your comments and then look at the held for review, and then they used to have, here are comments that are offensive. Check those. I can't even find that anymore. There's only held for review. And I saw people saying, I left this comment, I left this reply, and it got nuked by YouTube. It wasn't in my held for review. It wasn't in there, so I don't know where it went. YouTube straight up deleting comments without letting you review them. Pretty interesting. So somebody in the comments last week said comments are next. YouTube's coming after comments. They're already there. YouTube's already taken over the comments and deleting whatever the hell they want. That Lazy Guy, thank you very much for the response. I appreciate you. Very good point. I guess creators could just delete the comment, which never crossed my stupid brain. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from SoundSpeeds. SoundSpeeds! And he says, 3 comments. 1, I won't reward bad videos with a dislike or comment because that helps the video. If I don't like it, I leave it and stop watching. 2, I look forward to Black Friday because I'll go to my favorite American brands and buy these products at a discount. This morning, I got an email about a 25% Black Friday sale, and I haven't seen them offer more than 20% in the past, so I'm about to drop a few $100s here. To me, it's an annual sale I can count on. If they are going to do a sale, they likely will be for Black Friday, and I appreciate that. 3, 60% off on a Yeti is still too much, so is 99%. Alan, thank you very much for the comment. Regarding the first point that you make, when you find a bad video, you don't dislike, you don't comment, you just click off because you don't want to reward them. I think that is the correct move because one of the most damaging things you can do to a video is either give it as little watch time as possible or go to a different website completely. Because YouTube benefits videos, YouTube favors videos that keep people watching on the platform. If a video is the last video in a watch session, YouTube will say this video drove somebody off of the website. So if you really want to punish them, just go to a different website. Just in the search bar, in the the domain bar. What is it called? My brain doesn't function. My brain is not functioning. In the bar, type in a different URL and just go there from the video that you really dislike. That's what I would do. Secondly, you say, I look forward to Black Friday because your favorite American brands have discounts and sales, and it's a sale you can count on. To me, I think that's fine. I'm not saying, last week I went on a rant about Black Friday sales and just going to websites and browsing through all of the discounts and saying, oh, I'm going to buy this just because it's on sale, because it's a deal so good I can't turn it down. I think that's completely different than what you're saying here, what you're outlining here. It sounds as though you're allocating money specifically for items that are sold by these American brands, whether it be socks, shirts, sweatshirts, anything. I think if you are planning to go to these sites throughout the entire year on Black Friday because you know the stuff you want to buy will be on sale, I think that's perfectly fine, and that's how most people should function regarding Black Friday. They shouldn't just go, I'm going to go to Amazon.com and look through all of the Black Friday deals. I'm going to go to Sweetwater, look through all the Black Friday deals. I didn't need this, but it's such a good deal, I'm going to buy it anyway. I think that's how you get tricked into buying stuff that is subpar and just doesn't sell very well. And they just try to trick you into buying it because it's such a good deal, you can't turn it down. I think what you're doing is perfectly fine. If you're planning the entire year, I'm going to go to this website on Black Friday because I know the deals are going to be absolutely kick butt, and then I'm going to buy the stuff that I want to buy. More power to you. All right, and I got nothing to say about number 3. The Yeti is still too expensive at 99% off. Let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. Alrighty, welcome back to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have any questions, go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text-based questions. I do prefer audio and video because I am a stupid idiot who does not know how to read good or speak good. So much so that I intentionally speak ungood. So to really drive home the point, to send in audio and video, please send in audio and video. AskBandrew.com. First voice submission, I think this is a voice submission, comes from Brian. Take it away, Brian.
Hey, Bandrew. Let me preface this by saying I'm probably the oldest guy watching and listening to your... Nah, maybe not, but I am an old fart. I've got an old audio box USB. Yeah, it works fine, except for there's something it's kind of lacking. What I would like is a fixed level audio output that's not affected by the headphones. You know what I mean with this one having that mix level in there. Either they got headphones or audio playback. And for my situation, I don't really don't need the headphones so much or the zero latency monitoring. But what I do need is a good fixed level audio output that I can use to drive the audio input for an amateur radio transceiver. I do stream live events, or nets, I guess you would say, with the radio, and some people that I'm talking to can tune into the feed, and it's nice to hear all these radios come up in the background. That was awesome. But they can tune in and hear how they sound, and they can also see the screen on my radio, and we can carry on that way. So having something with that fixed level output would probably help me out quite a bit. The audio box USB I have doesn't really do the job that I want to do. So I guess long way of saying, help me pick a better interface. And thanks for all you do. I appreciate it.
Brian, thank you very much for the voice submission. I appreciate you very much. And to reiterate the question, you have a PreSonus audio box USB, but you need an audio interface that has a fixed level output to run to a radio broadcast. You need to run a fixed level audio output to something that broadcasts over radio. I'm going to come right out and say it. I have no idea about any audio interfaces that have a fixed level audio output. It's possible that I've tested one and I just don't know. I don't remember them because that is not a feature that I have ever really considered as an important feature. That's a possibility. So I am going to pass this off to the audience because I am a dummy and don't really know much about this. Every audio interface that I can think of does have outputs, but they are all controlled with a potentiometer. You're able to turn up and down the level, so it's not a fixed level output. So I'm passing the question off to everybody watching and or listening to this. Do you know of any audio interfaces that have a fixed level audio output that can be run to a radio broadcast thing? Let me know in the comments on YouTube. Brian, I apologize for being such a dummy and not being able to answer your question. I hope that somebody is able to respond in the comments and share some insight. Thank you very much, Brian. Next, we have a voice submission from Kyle from Portland. Take it away, Kyle from Portland.
Hello, Bandrew. This is Kyle from Portland, Oregon, and I'm wondering what your opinion is about using pencil condensers and shotgun microphones for voiceover work. I understand it's probably not a first choice, but I recently came upon a Rode NT5 pencil condenser, and I think it sounds pretty good. My only use case is doing Zoom calls and presentations for work, but I'd like to sound as good as I can in these situations. Should I look at better options, or do you think that this is a workable solution? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Kyle. I appreciate you very much. You ask, what are my thoughts on small diaphragm condensers for spoken word? I think they can work extremely well. And the reason I was convinced of this is because of the Earthworks microphones. I was blown away by the SR314, the Icon Pro, and the more recent one, the Ethos. That's what it was called. But because I was so impressed with the SR314 when I reviewed it, and I realized, oh, this is an SDC, I started buying a bunch of small diaphragm condensers to review them. I just haven't gotten around to them. But if you watched my LCT 140 Air review, you will have seen about 8 different SDCs that I compared in that video. And you'll see that we got some really interesting ones coming up. And I did just get a new one from Biodynamic that they sent out. And I'm really thrilled to try that one out as well, because that's one of their made in Germany ones, as opposed to, which is the one that I have from Bayer? Is this one made in Germany as well? Yes, the TGI 53. That one is made in Germany, but I wasn't too keen on that for spoken word. Now, something that I found interesting about your voice submission, you mentioned the Rode NT5. I don't know if you're part of some kind of cabal that is run by an Australian reptilian elite or something, but over the last 3 months, I have been seeing mention of the Rode NT5 nonstop. It's been in my server, it's been in my comments, it's been on Twitter, it's in my voice question submission things. It's everywhere. I'm assuming that this is because somebody in a voiceover community found the NT5 to sound really great, posted audio samples and said, hey, you can get it really cheap. Here's where I found it. Other people bought. I think that's what happened, but I'm going to stick with my story about some kind of reptile in Australia mind controlling everybody to check out the NT5. I haven't tried the NT5, but to answer the question, I think small diaphragm condensers can work very well for voiceover, as shown, as proven by the Earthworks microphones, as proven by the, where did it go? The Neumann KM185, which I really enjoyed, proven by the SE Electronics SE8, which I really liked. Hopefully that answered your question, Kyle. Best of luck, and use the mic that you got, the NT5. That'll work great for voice calls or recording or anything. Best of luck to you. Next, we have a voice submission from Bo, the radio guy. Take it away, Bo.
Hey, Bandrew, my name is Bo Reynolds, and I'm extremely afraid to even tell you this, but I'm a radio guy. I'm a radio personality. But I want to give you the facts just in case you decide to answer my question. I want you to, have all the information. But I've been on the air for 3 decades in, some decent markets. LA, Chicago, Denver, Tampa, Phoenix. My country show was nationally syndicated on 125 stations for almost a decade. And part of a DJ's job, every day, Monday through Friday, for at least 2 hours, I have to do what we used to call cutting spots or recording commercials. Nowadays, it's called voiceover. And I figured, what the hell? There's thousands and thousands of people trying to do it for a living. It's something that I've been doing for 3 decades, so why not? I jumped in on the pay-to-play thing. I joined Voice 123 last November at the $2,000 level. And I've booked between $4,000 and $5,000 worth of work. But that's $4,000 or $5,000 in almost a year. And no one can live on that. So I'm just curious as to what I'm doing wrong. I'm recording on the Apollo Twin Duo using the Stellar X2. I also have the Synco D2. And then I have access to the SM7B and the RE20. Those are microphones we use at the radio station. I can use them anytime. But I'm just wondering what it is I'm doing wrong. Is it my age? Is it my too much energy, perhaps? And not in this file, but in the demo that I'm going to attach. Is it my post-processing? I'm doing something wrong, and I, for the life of me, can't figure it out. And I was hoping I could talk you into helping me. It'd probably be the first time you ever helped a radio guy, but I'm assuming you just hate that radio sound, and I get that, totally. Way too much compression, EQ, all of it. But included is my demo, and I hope you'll take a listen. And, if you have a minute to give me some feedback, that'd be awesome. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it so much. I get so much value out of your channel. Gold nuggets every day, and I appreciate that very much.
You'll never be disappointed. Wherever you are, Seagram's refreshing taste is always welcome. Seagram's Ginger Ale. Crisp taste, anytime or place. What time is it? It's go time. Time to take your foot off the brakes, to hit play, to leave boring video meetings behind, and connect and create with everything you need in one place. The future of work is here, and Bluescape will help you create it. Being different isn't always a bad thing. It means you're brave enough to be yourself. What makes you different makes you beautiful. But sometimes it's really hard to see it. The biggest challenge in life is to be yourself in a world that is trying to make you be like everyone else.
The butcher was one of many workers killed in the tragic warehouse accident all those years ago. But even in death, the soul of the butcher never stopped roaming the halls of the abandoned warehouse, seeking out more meat for his hook. Visit Warehouse 31 this Halloween season. Just be careful not to end up as more meat on the butcher's hook.
Future version post-production Bandrew here chiming in. First thing I want to say is, Bo, thank you very much for sending in the voice submission and the demo reel. I have already responded to Bo months ago, but upon listening to his demo reel and going back and forth from his audio submission and my podcast submission, or my podcast audio in general, rather, I came up with a minor EQ that I would add in. I would throw on a high pass filter between 50 and 60 hertz. I almost said dB, 50 to 60 hertz. And then I also noticed quite a bit of, I wouldn't call it woolliness or boominess. It's too much, right down around 150 hertz. So I threw on a negative 3 dB cut at 150 hertz with a Q of 0.6. And then I would roll back the compression a little bit, because I think the compression is also adding to the overpowering low end. So that would be my suggestion, but your voice is amazing, the energy is amazing, and I have no idea why you wouldn't be able to get work for voiceover with the natural ability that you have. But now I'm going to jump to past Bandrew while I was recording this episode, and then we will continue the show. Bo, thank you very much, and past Bandrew. So because I am completely unfamiliar with professional voiceover work, this is another situation where I am going to try to crowdsource an answer for Bo, because I know there are some folks who listen to this show who are professional voiceover artists, or at least do quite a bit of work in voiceover, maybe as a side gig. So I want to pass the question off to you. What do you think Bo could do to maybe get a bit more bites on his work, for work? Do you think he needs to alter his production? Do you think he needs to adjust the pricing? Do you think there's any tricks he can do marketing-wise to get more work for his voiceover? Because I think he's great to listen to. The audio is enjoyable. Let me know in the comments down below on YouTube. And sorry I can't provide any more insight. Bo, if you are listening, let us know if you've had any better luck over the last 3 months or so. And lastly, we have a video submission from David. David, take it away, good sir.
Hey Bandrew, my name is David, and I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for all the hard work that you put into your channel, into your reviews, into answering questions for us. It really means a great deal to have this kind of quality of information available to us. So I appreciate it. My question is, when I'm doing post-processing of my audio, does it matter at what stage of the audio signal I do the various effects? So should I EQ before compression or vice versa? Does it matter when I do any noise reduction? If I do, should I do that before or after? When should I do the deplosives or the de-essing? Or does none of this matter? Or if it does, do you have any good rules of thumb for people to get the best sounding audio that they can in their post-processing? So thanks in advance for answering that question. I am currently speaking to a Neumann KMS 105. I love this microphone, but I blame you, and my bank account blames you for the recommendation. But it's wonderful. It's going into a Universal Audio Aero interface with an API Vision plugin and some compression on that. No other post-processing, which gets me to maybe a secondary question if you have time, which is, do you have any updated recommendations for a good pop filter that would be able to attach to the mic? I know that you've recommended some in the past. Maybe the recommendation is the same, but just to preserve the quality of this microphone and not have like a crappy $8 Amazon pop filter would be nice. Okay, thank you again, Bandrew. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, and year.
Good man, David. Good man. Rocking the KMS 105, which just so happens to always be sitting on my desk right here. So if I ever need to use it, I can just grab it and go rocking and a-rolling. I'm just a happy camper. Just a happy camper. Glad to hear you picked that up, and glad to hear that you're enjoying it, and it does sound great on you. Okay, you ask a wonderful question. Does the order of operations for post-processing matter, and does it impact how things work? Absolutely, it does. For example, EQs or equalizers, those are going to adjust how strong certain frequencies come across, or how loud they are, or how quiet they are. Then if you run an EQ, you boost something by 10 decibels and then run into a compressor, those frequencies which you boosted are going to cause that compressor to work harder. Those frequencies that you boosted are going to be more compressed. If you cut something, those frequencies are going to be compressed less. So by altering the frequencies in a recording and then running that into the compressor, it is going to impact how the compressor is working. So I always do a high pass filter prior to running into a compressor because I don't want frequencies that I won't have in the recording to impact how the compressor is working. I don't want 50 cycles hums, 50 cycle hums, 50s. I don't want hums impacting how the compressor is functioning. I want the audio to sound as good as it can before I do any real processing. So the order of operations that I have landed on is, first thing, I will try to get the audio as good as I can prior to hitting record. I'll shut off any noisy things. I'll shut off my AC if I remember to do so. Then, once I have recorded, I drop everything into Logic Pro. I will run a de-reverb. I run a de-plosive because I don't want plosives to impact the compressor. I will run a mouth declick because I don't want those to be brought up and made louder when I compress. And then I will do a high pass filter with my EQ. I will do other EQs as well. If I want to cut a little bit of nasalness out of the recording, I'll do that. If I want to boost it a bit in the high end, I'll do that here. And then I compress it. And then I have seen people do EQ before the compressor, then run the compressor, and then after the compressor, do another EQ. I don't do that though, but I have seen people do that. And then the last thing that I run is a de-esser, because I want to make sure that even after everything is compressed, there is still nothing that is going to cause any sharp S's, and that is all clean and clear. I am sure that there are plenty of people who have a completely different workflow from me, a completely different order of operations, and I'm sure they are completely justified in their order of operations. This is what I have just landed on, and it seems to work well for me. And in the end, I tried to film a video last week, how I process my podcast, and the introduction was, I will help you get your audios from sounding like this to sounding like this. I realized I couldn't publish it because the difference was almost non-existent, except maybe 3 decibels of gain reduction for a compressor. And that was the only difference. Loudness, obviously, but I had leveled the intro in general, so I couldn't publish it because nobody would say, I'm going to watch a 20-minute video tutorial on how to get my audio to sound exactly the same. So that's my take. I hope that's helpful. The best thing you can do is just experiment, because you probably do a recording 1, 2, 3 recordings a week. Just mess around with the workflow, mess around with where you put each of the effects and see which one you like the results of the best. And then you ask a bonus question, pop filter recommendations. Good, we have a couple minutes left on the camera. So the one that I recommend is the Hakan, Hakan, P110. Is this thing pretty? No, it looks like a fish filter. Is it expensive? Yes. But is it effective? Yes, it is effective. And my understanding is this is the most transparent pop filter on the market, or at least one of them. So it's not going to affect the tone of the recording that much. It's going to keep the audio pretty straightforward and keep it from sounding darkened or keep it from generating a sibilant S sound. It keeps a pretty transparent audio sound as you move back and forth with the pop filter and without it. So the Hakan oh my goodness gracious. The Hakan P110, we're leaving that in there. The P110 is the pop filter that I would recommend if you want the best of the best. If you want a really great one, the Stedman ProScreen 101. But the $8 Amazon ones, those sound very, very sibilant to me. It sounds, it's shocking. When I listened to them back to back with these other pop filters, the amount, let me just grab one and I'll do this real quick. So this is how the King Bee sounds without a pop filter. This is how it sounds with the $8 Amazon one. I hear such a massive tonal difference with this pop filter. It's crazy. Then without the pop filter again, and then with the pop filter. Quite shocking there. Then we have the Stedman Pro Screen 101 without the pop filter, then with the pop filter, with the pop filter, without the pop filter, with the pop filter, without the pop filter. Really not a big difference. Really a good sounding pop filter for $50. And with the Stedman, with the pop filter, with the pop filter, with the pop filter, without the pop filter, without the pop filter. So it does a really good job. The Amazon one's kind of stinky. Okay, David, there you go. I hope that quick back and forth between all of those pop filters was helpful in determining which one works best for you. That $8 one is just shocking. How much it impacts the recording, the sound. It's bizarre. There you go. And that's it. I've got nothing else to say. This is the last show before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, so I hope that you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I hope you have an incredible Thanksgiving, then a happy Black Friday, a cheap Black Friday, and then next Saturday as well. Then the following Sunday, I will talk at you. And on Thanksgiving, take time to actually think about what you're thankful for. Think about how fortunate we are to live in times today. It's an incredible time to be alive. All the things, all the amenities, all the luxuries that we have access to, we really truly are fortunate. And I am incredibly thankful for every single one of you. You are amazing. You are why I still do this and why it's still fun for me. I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week and a happy Thanksgiving and a cheap Black Friday. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.